money than they were willing to pay for a show that's only got a couple of years left.
Which I have a great deal of respect for. If you are somebody in entertainment who think you deserve better treatment, then go for it. Go
and
for
he
it.
did. And he went for it, and he failed.
He failed, yeah. So what they're saying here now, guys, is they're going to either recast Mr. Burns, or a scenario that I'm really interested in, Homer is going to be the owner of the power plant.
And we start getting 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl episodes.
Whatever happened to 80s stuff on TV? The Simpsons were so fun to watch. I mean, some of their most memorable episodes were from like 1987 to 1995, 1996. They had so many great video games that were produced, from Bart's Worst Nightmare to eventually Virtual Springfield and Simpsons Cartoon Studio. Whatever happened?
I got the collection of Burger King Simpsons light-up figures for Halloween that they did. And they still work.
The Simpsons had so much creativity. I was always a big fan of The Simpsons, and it's just sad for me to see them go. You know, having to post that video on my Facebook page where, you know, they were talking about the contractual dispute and everything, and it was just hard for me because Mr. Burns was just somebody that I always remembered. And it's going to be difficult watching The Simpsons for whatever time they have left, you know, saying, you know, that Mr. Burns was I was a big fan of Mr. Burns. It's going to be difficult for me watching the show without him there.
Yeah, but, I mean, you know, things change. I mean, hell, Letterman ended last night.
But that's more than what I can say for people who watch Grey's Anatomy, who are going to find it very difficult now after 9.2 million viewers tuned in to see the death of Patrick Dempsey.
Mm.
That's been overrated. That Grey's Anatomy death was overrated. I think that you're still going to have a reason to watch that show because they will come up with something to keep you interested in it. I do apologize for ruining the end of the Grey's Anatomy latest episode because somebody was binging Grey's Anatomy when I was talking to them, and they said they were only halfway through season 4, and I basically jumped to season 9. I ruined it for everybody, and I do apologize for that.
I've never seen an
episode. I'm not everybody's favorite person. But Grey's Anatomy had 9.2 million tune in, and they're doing pretty good, and I think they're going to still continue to do good. That's the thing about these shows, these primetime shows. They're coming in with more interesting primetime shows all the time, and the creativity with these primetime shows is more than what I can say for professional wrestling these days.
Oh, yeah. Well, then again, I don't watch network TV. I haven't watched network TV in 20 years.
Can somebody tell me, just running down through some of the things that I've been talking about and documenting over the last couple of weeks, can somebody tell me what is the deal with these daytime soap operas and Days of Our Lives? Is Days of Our Lives going off air the next couple of years? Because they're in their 50th year now. Are they going off air soon, or are they sticking around?
They had been canceled, and they've been picked up, I think, by Netflix.
Okay. So when does this take effect?
I'm not exactly sure. I do remember reading something about that, though. That and General Hospital both are, like, been picked up by Internet channels.
That will benefit Days of Our Lives if that is the case. But the thing that's really going to be Days of Our Lives' downfall is killing off the characters. Because a soap opera is not made unless you have the characters. And Days of Our Lives and The Young and the Restless and General Hospital don't have the characters anymore to keep them going.
No, I wouldn't know. I've never actually had the time to watch those. It's I spent so much time looking at my DVR.
Yeah, and basically what the issue was with that, I was wondering, because I was reading about the contracts of the show, and apparently they're talking about pulling that off. There was a press release issued a couple of months back where they were going to be moving soap operas to nighttime television. It's so stupid what they're doing. It's so stupid. And celebrities out there now are doing anything to get attention. Johnny Depp with his Yorkies. I mean, come on. I mean, do you really have to have that publicized as much as what you had that publicized? You knew he was going to save the dogs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, talk about something like Pirates of the Caribbean 4. Or what is it now, 5 or 6 we're up to now?
I think so.
Like, you know that's the more important thing. And that's what I'm looking forward to with Johnny Depp. I don't want to hear about his dogs dying. I want to see Johnny Depp in this Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I want to see how they're going to change it from the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which really let me down. I want to see where Disney picks up with it and runs with it. And I'm hoping that they're going to spend on this movie. I'm hoping they're going to really pick up where the slack has been.
Unfortunately for Pirates of the Caribbean and several of the other Disney franchises, they've taken all their really good writers and transferred them over to their new moneymaker. Two things.
The new money.
Star Wars and Marvel. Because Disney owns both now. Disney owns both.
That's one of the best moves they've made in a long time, but I'm really hoping they don't ruin Spider-Man. They can ruin any other superhero out there, but do not take Spider-Man away from me, please.
Yeah, well, a guy I had worked with on a couple of films, Sam Raimi, was the one that really brought Spider-Man back. And without him, I hadn't been interested.
Guy producing Spider-Man now, just to give you guys a bit of info, is Mark Webb. The same guy that's produced music videos for Maroon 5, Miley Cyrus, and I believe a couple of others. I don't think he has any creativity when it comes to Spider-Man. Maybe for presenting Spider-Man as a comic book style movie, because that's what the movies now of Spider-Man put me in mind of.
Yeah.
There is a lot of info in the new Spider-Mans, but there is way too much info. In my opinion, in these superhero movies, you should be Spider-Man and Batman right off the bat. Bang, you come into the movie, you're whooping ass from the start of the movie till the end. There should be no info on how you became Spider-Man, how your parents died, how you were in a relationship with this girl from comic books from 20, 30 years ago. There's way too much info in a 2-hour Spider-Man movie when you can just have action from the get-go to the end. That's what they need to do.
Yep. And like the last Spider-Man, or at least last one I remember reading about, too many damn villains in one episode.
You had the Electro character. You had
Rhino. You had the Vulture. I think Doc Ock was in there.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, the only
Scorpion,
thing missing was
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Jesus. I hope they don't. I hope they don't ruin it. I really hope they don't ruin it. And then they had the Black Widow coming out. It seems like the one that they're making the most off now, obviously, is the Avengers. You knew that. But hopefully now all the momentum that they have doesn't blow up in their faces. I'm hoping that if we do see the Black Widow, which is being advertised, it's not a screw-up. Because Marvel puts way too much momentum and emphasis behind certain characters, which you would expect them to do. But as a result of them over-promoting so much, there's nothing else they can fall back on, only a sequel 3 or 4 years down the road after the previous film generates so much. And now with Disney announcing that they're going to be doing the Star Wars Episode 8, and with announcing that they're going to be turning Star Wars also into an animated movie, I'm kind of wondering. Do they really know what they're doing? I hope they do. Like the original creators of Star Wars did all those years ago. What they need to do, they need to go back and they need to analyze the tapes. They need to analyze the tapes of what Spider-Man was like, what the Avengers were like, and what the Star Wars trilogies were like. Because if they don't do that, they're going to really screw it up.
Yeah.
Because they've never done it before.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of films killed by the hype.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. The best movie I remember seeing in years was Euro Trip. There hasn't been a funny movie since then. Probably the Hangover movies, but Euro Trip was probably one of the funniest.
No, the funniest movie I've ever seen is still Porky's.
Take her somewhere, and if it's too early...
Hang on a second, guys. Yeah.
Yep. And Porky's, that goes back to Bob Clarke back in the early 80s.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's It's absolutely ridiculous.
And that was
how
a beautifully hilarious film.
I'm still waiting on a movie to be produced about myself. I would love to see that. There's also the Ariana Grande blow-up thing that really interests me, how she has just absolutely skyrocketed into stardom. This is something I predicted 3 or 4 years ago.
That girl has got some pipes on her.
Oh, man.
She is
the
sing.
best
I remember
celebrity in the world.
Seeing her on Victorious, and she just blew me away with some of the soul stuff she was doing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, too. We talked about the fact that that she was the talent a couple of years ago, that she was, and then they all were talented, but she was the biggest of those talents.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
On the show, and she really took. And I knew she was going to take off. And I'm not disrespecting Victoria Justice, who was at the time probably she probably, because she just looked like she should have already been a superstar when she went on that show, and a lot of things had to do with the way she just simply looked, and she was talented too. But really, if you really look at the ones that really could sing on that show, Victoria Justice, out of the ones that could, really was probably the one with the least amount of talent. That doesn't take anything away from her, because she could sing. It was just
her name.
Yeah, it was her name,
basically.
Her name and her look.
Part of it was Snyder's Bakery owed her, because of the previous series she had been on. She'd gotten so screwed because of Britney Spears' kid sister.
Yeah, that was her fault. That wasn't Victoria Justice's fault. I remember Tom said.